everybody. My name is Baran Rastegar, and today I will be talking about how can members of dysfunctional societies help heal sociological wounds. History has always had a tendency to repeat itself. History has always had a tendency to repeat itself. Developed nations grow to be more and more successful day by day, while developing nations plummet. Individuals of dysfunctional societies find themselves in repetitive cycles of sociological suffering. So what can they do in order to help heal sociological wounds? What are dysfunctional societies? In sociology, dysfunction takes place when social institutions do not contribute positively to the maintenance of society, but disrupt peace and provoke conflict rather than coherence. Dysfunction can take place in aspects such as economics, politics, and social culture. Sociological wounds are a metaphor for the trauma that a society has faced, which has negatively affected the individuals of a herd society. Many dysfunctional societies are often found to have behaviors that portray weak and shallow emotional intelligence. Such behaviors eventually go on this path, cause political and economic mishap. But what are examples of these behaviors that trigger such consequences? Stigma and discrimination. Stigma and discrimination led by ignorance is an example of a toxic behavior that truly does leave a society wounded. In dysfunctional societies, many people are blind enough to judge anything from what their perspective believes to be normal. In their minds, people who are different in terms of appearance or ability are people who are automatically doomed. Even if the unique individual makes it to success, they still leave room for judgment without deeply analyzing the situation. Let's say there's a young girl with a disability who is simultaneously a girl who wants to change society for the better, a girl who wants to make a difference. Now let's imagine two hypothetical scenarios. In the first scenario, the girl is just as emotionally ready as the people who surround her, the people who tell her how she will never be able to find a husband or success in her career, and she wastes away on what she believes to be her destiny. In the second scenario, the girl decides not to take refuge in any sort of good. She does everything in her power to overcome her disability, dominate her career, and find a hopeful relationship. Now, the people who were judging her previously are judging her anyway for other aspects of her life, even getting as far as to question how she got to her level of success and happiness. Either way, the girl is not free from people's judgment and is burdened by small-minded perspectives for the rest of her life. A significant point that the social culture of dysfunctional societies likes to put aside is that the key to growth and success is to be open-minded to constructive criticism in order to be able to strengthen the weaknesses that have been analyzed. However, in dysfunctional societies, there's a toxic misconception that if you have a flaw or that if you have made a mistake that contradicts society's expectations, either your self-worth has decreased in value or you have ruined your reputation. This is simply a false concept, as humans were born to make mistakes. Humans were born to have flaws. However, due to societal pressure, acceptance of these flaws in regards to personality or behavior is severely lacking. Many people fail to realize that a problem becomes a bigger issue when you refuse to acknowledge it, not only by its own. This delays the process of hard work and success. And while this scenario can take place in most societies of the world, the issue is that it is far more normalized in dysfunctional societies. Another prominent point about individuals from dysfunctional societies is that they are easily emotionally influenced while having a thought process that does not consist of emotional regulation. They become passionate for political ideologies without considering the logic behind it, because unconsciously, they consider their emotion to be the biggest factor of their decision making, which eventually leads to political disaster. Sometimes when this happens, after years of damage that has been done to society, people finally start to question their decision making. This phenomenon has taken place in the span of time of hundreds of years ago, as well as the past few decades. In the end, this is only a brief analysis. No society is perfect. No society is flawless. Different societies lack in different things, but there are infinite reasons as to why some societies are way below the standards and expectations for political, economical, and social success. As an individual who has lived both in a first world and third world country, I can promise that even if the first world country wasn't near perfect, they were hundreds of steps ahead of the third world country. How is it that in the first world country, people of diverse and completely contrasting cultures can learn to work together and build a stronger society? But people of the same kind in third world countries can't learn to have mutual respect for each other. When I first moved from a first world country to a third world country, I was in cultural shock. Because of this shock, things that weren't clear to me before became evident. Even in a few circumstances, the actions taken in social situations were like the difference between Black and white. So what can members of dysfunctional societies do in order to help heal sociological wounds? While trying to analyze the situation and find solutions for political and economic disasters, the first thing they need to do is to realize how they got into such a horrific situation in the first place. Thank you for listening.